I'll never forget that sweltering July afternoon in 2017, the kind where the humidity in rural Georgia sticks to your skin like a bad memory, and the cicadas buzz so loud it drowns out your thoughts. I was in our tiny kitchen in the two-bedroom rental house on Peach Street in Milford, a speck of a town with one stoplight, a Piggly Wiggly grocery store, and neighbors who knew your laundry schedule better than you did. My hands were covered in flour from rolling out biscuit dough for supper, the radio playing some old country tune about lost love that suddenly felt too real. The screen door creaked open, and there stood my best friend, Jenny, sweat beading on her forehead, her sundress clinging awkwardly to her frame. She didn't say hi or comment on the smell of the peach cobbler baking in the oven. Instead, she just blurted it out, her voice cracking like thunder before a storm. "Linda, I'm pregnant, and it's Bobby's." Bobby, my husband of 15 years, the man who'd fixed our leaky roof last spring and kissed me good morning every day without fail. In that moment, the rolling pin slipped from my grip, clattering to the linoleum floor, and I felt my knees buckle as the world tilted sideways. How do you even breathe when the two people you trust most in the world rip your heart out with one sentence? It all started way back, I guess, when life in Milford felt like a comfortable routine, the kind you settle into without realizing how fragile it is. Bobby and I met in high school, at Milford High, back in the early 2000s. He was the tall, lanky guy on the baseball team, always with a grin and a dip of skull in his lip that he quit for me later on. I was the girl working after-school shifts at the local Dairy Queen, scooping cones for pocket money while dreaming of something more than this one-horse town. We dated through senior year, went to prom in his daddy's old Ford truck with the rusty fenders, and got married at the Baptist church on the hill right after graduation because that's what folks did around here. Tied the knot young, started a family, and hoped for the best. Our first place was a cramped apartment above the hardware store downtown, with thin walls where you could hear the neighbors arguing about whose turn it was to mow the shared lawn. Bobby got a job at the paper mill 20 miles out, driving his truck there at dawn, coming home smelling like pulp and sweat, his lunchbox empty from the ham sandwiches I packed him every morning. We had our daughter, Ellie, 2 years into the marriage, a sweet little thing with Bobby's blue eyes and my freckles across her nose. She changed everything, in the best way at first. I quit Dairy Queen and took a part-time gig at the elementary school as a lunch lady, dishing out mashed potatoes and green beans to kids who reminded me of what Ellie would be like someday. Life revolved around the small stuff. Grocery runs to Piggly Wiggly for ground beef and canned veggies on sale, Friday night high school football games under the lights where Bobby would holler for the home team, and Sundays at church followed by potluck dinners with fried chicken and banana pudding. Holidays were the highlights. Thanksgiving with Bobby carving the turkey we'd bought fresh from the farm stand, the house filled with the scent of sage stuffing and my mama's cornbread recipe. Christmas meant stringing lights on our fake tree from Walmart, Ellie hanging stockings by the gas fireplace, and waking up to her squeals over Santa's gifts, like the Barbie dream house we saved up for months to buy. Jenny came into our lives about 8 years ago, when she moved to Milford after her folks passed in a car wreck up north. She rented the shotgun house next door, the one with the sagging porch and the rose bushes that bloomed wild every spring. We bonded quick. She was a nurse at the clinic downtown, always in scrubs with her hair in a ponytail. And we'd sit on my front steps sipping sweet tea from mason jars, watching Ellie play hopscotch on the sidewalk. "You're lucky, Linda," she'd say, her eyes a bit wistful. "Bobby's one of the good ones." I'd nod, feeling that warm glow of contentment, never suspecting a thing. Bobby liked her too. He'd mow her lawn when he did ours, or fix her clunky old Honda when it wouldn't start. We'd have barbecues in the backyard, grilling hot dogs from the store and corn on the cob, laughing over stories while fireflies lit up the dusk. Neighbors like old Mr. Harlan across the street would wave from his rocker, calling out, "Y'all having a party without me?" It felt like family, the kind you choose. But cracks started showing, slow and sneaky, like termites in the foundation. Bobby's shifts at the mill got longer, overtime he said, to pay off the credit card debt from Ellie's braces. He'd come home exhausted, plopping on the couch with a Bud Light from the fridge, staring at the TV without really watching the Braves game. Our talks turned to arguments over little things. Why the electric bill was so high from running the window AC all summer, or who forgot to pick up milk at the store. "I'm just tired, Lynn," he'd mutter when I'd ask if something was wrong, rolling over in our full-size bed with the lumpy mattress we'd had since the apartment days. I felt the distance growing, but I blamed it on life. The daily grind of packing Ellie's lunches with peanut butter crackers and apple slices, helping with her homework at the kitchen table, while supper simmered on the stove. Ellie was 8 by then, a fireball of energy, riding her bike up and down the street after school, coming in with scraped knees that Jenny would patch up with Band-Aids from her nurse kit. "Mom, can I sleep over at Aunt Jenny's?" she'd ask, and I'd say yes, thinking it was harmless. Jenny didn't have kids of her own, so she spoiled Ellie with homemade cookies and movie nights on her old DVD player. I confided in Jenny about the rough patches with Bobby, how he seemed distant, how intimacy had faded to quick pecks on the cheek. "Marriage is work," she'd say, squeezing my hand over coffee at the diner downtown, the one with the checkered tablecloths and bottomless refills. "He loves you, Linda. Give it time." Her words felt like a lifeline, but looking back, there was a flicker in her eyes, something I missed. The suspense built like humidity before a rain, thick and oppressive. Bobby started taking fishing trips on weekends with his buddies from the mill, coming home with empty coolers and sunburned necks. I'd smell something off, not just lake water, but a faint perfume that wasn't mine. "Must be from the bait shop," he'd shrug when I asked, avoiding my gaze. Jenny seemed off too, canceling our usual walks to the park where we'd push Ellie on the swings, or looking queasy over breakfast invites. "Just a bug going around the clinic," she'd say. I worried about her, even brought over chicken noodle soup from a can, heated on my stove. Inside, doubt snagged at me. Was Bobby unhappy? Was I not enough? Nights I'd lie awake, listening to the train whistle from the tracks a mile away, wondering if this was midlife creeping in. One evening in June, after Ellie's school let out for summer, I found a receipt in Bobby's jeans pocket while doing laundry in our stacked washer-dryer unit that rattled the whole house. It was from a motel in the next county over, dated for a fishing weekend. My heart pounded as I stuffed it back, telling myself it was nothing, a buddy's expense or something. But the seed was planted, growing with each late night he came home, each time Jenny avoided eye contact at the neighborhood block party where we grilled burgers and set off sparklers for the 4th of July. Ellie ran around with the other kids, laughing, while I forced smiles, sipping lemonade that tasted bitter. The shocking secrets came tumbling out that July day with Jenny's confession. After she said those words, I just stared, flour dusting my apron like snow in hell. "How when?" I whispered, sinking into a chair at the table. She cried then, big ugly sobs, telling me it started 6 months ago. "After the church picnic," she said. "Bobby drove me home because my car wouldn't start. We talked, and one thing led to another. It was a mistake, Linda, but it kept happening. Motel rooms, lunch breaks at the clinic when I was at work, secrets woven into our everyday lives. Bobby knew about the baby, had been begging her to handle it, but she couldn't. I'm keeping it," she said, hand on her belly. Betrayal burned through me like wildfire, every memory tainted. The times they'd laughed together at our table, the hugs that lingered too long. I confronted Bobby that night, after Ellie was asleep in her room with the princess posters on the walls. He came home from his shift, kicking off his boots by the door. "Jenny told me everything," I said, voice steady but inside I was shattering. He froze, then sank onto the couch, head in hands. "Lynn, I'm sorry. It was stupid. I felt trapped here, in this town, this life." Jenny listened. Excuses flowed, stress from work, feeling old at 35, how our marriage had become routine. But then the twist. He admitted there'd been others before, quick flings at bars on those fishing trips. "Nothing serious," he said, like that made it better. I felt sick, the room spinning as regrets flooded in. Why hadn't I seen it? Had I been too busy with Ellie, too complacent? The emotional breakdown hit me like a freight train a week later. Bobby moved out to his brother's trailer on the outskirts of town, leaving the house echoing with absence. I'd drop Ellie off at summer camp at the rec center, then come home and curl up on the bed, sobbing until my eyes swelled shut. Neighbors whispered, "Small towns love scandal." And I'd overhear it at Piggly Wiggly, pushing my cart past the cereal aisle. Poor Linda, didn't see it coming. Jenny tried to apologize, leaving notes on my door, but I tore them up. One night, storm raging outside, I sat in the dark kitchen with a bottle of cheap wine from the store, thoughts dark and swirling. What's the point? I whispered to the empty room. Ellie found me like that, her little voice asking, "Mommy, why are you sad?" I held her tight, forcing back the tears, but inside I was broken. Healing began slow, like dawn after a long night. I filed for divorce at the county courthouse, the papers feeling heavy as lead. Therapy at the free clinic helped, sitting in a musty room with a counselor who listened without judgment. "One step at a time," she said. I threw myself into work, taking extra shifts at school, and started a garden in the backyard, planting tomatoes and beans that Ellie helped water. Jenny had the baby in winter, a boy she named Tyler. She asked me to visit. I refused at first, but curiosity and pity won. Holding him in the hospital, so tiny and innocent, softened something in me. "He looks like Bobby," I whispered. We talked then, unpacking the pain, her regrets matching mine. Bobby stepped up for Tyler, paying support and visiting. Awkward co-parenting dinners followed, Ellie excited about her half-brother. Jenny and I mended fences gradually, over coffee that turned to tears and forgiveness. "I never deserved you," she said. Life shifted. New job at the library, reading to kids like Ellie used to be. Dating came later. A kind mechanic named Sam who fixed my car and my heart a bit. The life-changing ending came years later, on a Christmas Eve with snow rare for Georgia blanketing the town. We gathered, me, Bobby, Jenny, the kids, in my house, tree twinkling with lights. Laughter filled the air as Tyler and Ellie opened gifts. Bobby pulled me aside, eyes sincere. "I regret everything, Lynn. But look what we built from the ashes." In that moment, surrounded by our blended mess, I felt whole. The lesson I've learned, etched deep after all the pain, is this. Betrayal can shatter you, but forgiveness rebuilds stronger foundations. Hold tight to those who stay, choose love over hate, because family isn't perfect, it's the people who fight to make it right. That Christmas Eve gathering in 2022 felt like the first real breath I'd taken in years. The snow was light for Georgia, just a dusting that made the old rental house on Peach Street look like something from a postcard, with the porch lights twinkling against the white. Ellie, now a teenager with braces off and her hair dyed a streak of purple that Bobby grumbled about, helped me set the table with the good china we'd gotten as wedding gifts, plates with little holly patterns that only came out for holidays. Tyler, Jenny's little boy, was toddling around in his footy pajamas, chasing the cat under the tree while giggling like it was the funniest thing in the world. Bobby showed up with a honey-baked ham from the grocery store, the kind with the glaze packet, and Jenny brought her famous pecan pie that she'd baked in her kitchen next door. We all squeezed around the table. Me at the head, Bobby to my right like old times, Jenny across from him, the kids filling in the gaps. It was awkward at first, nobody quite knowing what to say over the blessing, but when Ellie bowed her head and thanked God for bringing us all together even when it's weird, we couldn't help but chuckle, the tension easing like ice melting in sweet tea. We ate too much, of course. Mashed potatoes with gravy, green bean casserole with those fried onions on top from the can, rolls I'd baked fresh that morning. Stories flowed easier after plates were cleared. Bobby talking about the new foreman at the mill who was a real pain, Jenny sharing funny tales from the clinic about patients mistaking her for a doctor. Tyler fell asleep on the couch midway through opening presents, his little head on my lap as I stroked his hair, thinking how strange life is. That this child born from so much hurt could bring such quiet joy. Ellie got a new phone case and some clothes from Target, beaming as she modeled them for us. When Bobby handed me a small box, a simple silver necklace with a heart pendant, I felt tears prick my eyes. "For all the Christmases I messed up," he said softly. I hugged him then, not as a husband, but as the father of my daughter and this unexpected little boy, forgiveness settling in my bones like warm sunlight. The years after that blended into a new kind of normal, one I never could have pictured back on that hot July day when everything exploded. By 2023, the divorce was final. Quiet, no big court battle, just signing papers at the lawyer's office downtown while Ellie waited in the truck with a book. Bobby kept paying child support for both kids without me having to chase him, and he rented a small apartment near the mill, fixing it up with his tools on weekends. Jenny and I rebuilt our friendship brick by brick, starting with polite waves over the fence, Then coffee on neutral ground at the diner, where we talk about parenting and work without tiptoeing around the elephant in the room forever. I think about it every day, she'd admit one afternoon over biscuits and gravy. How I hurt you. I'd nod saying, me too. But hating you forever would have hurt me more. It wasn't perfect forgiveness. Some days the old anger flared up like a summer storm, but we chose to keep showing up, for the kids, for the neighborhood that watched us like hawks. Ellie navigated it all with more grace than I expected from a kid her age. She'd spend weekends splitting time, movie nights with me and Sam, the mechanic I'd started dating, who was patient and kind, never pushing, fishing with Bobby at the pond outside town, and playdates with Tyler at Jenny's. It's weird, Mom, she'd confide one night while we painted our nails on the living room floor, the TV playing some old sitcom in the background. But it's our weird. Sam fit in easy. He'd come over for supper, grilling steaks in the backyard while teaching Ellie how to change oil in my old minivan. He never tried to replace Bobby, just added to our patchwork family, bringing stability with his steady job at the garage and his laugh that filled the house. Tyler grew fast, calling me Miss Linda at first, then Aunt Lynn as he got older, his little voice tugging at my heartstrings every time. By 2024, he was in preschool at the church, drawing pictures of our blended crew, stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. Jenny met someone too, a widower from the next town over who owned a feed store, and they took it slow, introducing him to Tyler carefully. Holidays evolved, Easter egg hunts in the park with plastic eggs filled with candy from Dollar General, 4th of July fireworks at the high school field where we'd spread blankets and eat watermelon until our hands were sticky. Thanksgiving became a big affair, rotating houses. My turn one year with the deep-fried turkey Bobby insisted on. Jenny's the next with her homemade dressing. Bobby and I found a friendship in the ruins, the kind forged from shared history and regret. We'd meet for coffee sometimes, talking about the kids or town gossip. The new Walmart going in on the highway, how the high school football team finally won state. I was a fool, Lynn, he'd say more than once, eyes downcast over his mug. Chasing something I thought was missing when it was right here. I'd forgive him again, not for romance. We were done there, but for peace. Sam understood, never jealous, just supportive as I healed those old wounds. By this Christmas, December 2025, the house on Peach Street feels full in a way it hasn't since before the betrayal. Ellie's home from her first semester at community college, studying nursing like Jenny inspired her to. Tyler's 7 now, losing baby teeth and obsessed with dinosaurs. His presents piled high under the tree we decorated together last week, popcorn strings and all. Sam's here, carving the ham while Bobby strings extra lights outside, because Tyler begged for more. Jenny's bringing her boyfriend and a casserole, the kids running wild with laughter echoing through the rooms. We're not the family I planned back when Bobby and I said, I do in that little church, but we're a family all the same, stronger maybe for the cracks we've filled with grace. Looking back from this snowy evening, rare again for Georgia, the flakes drifting lazy past the window as I sip hot cocoa spiked with a little peppermint schnapps, I see how far we've come. From that shattering moment with Jenny's confession, through the dark nights of doubt and divorce, to this noisy, imperfect gathering. It's a testament to what love can endure when you choose it daily. And the deepest lesson life's taught me through all this heartache and healing is this. Betrayal doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the painful beginning of something more honest, more resilient. People will fail you, sometimes the ones you love most, but holding on to bitterness only chains you to the past. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. It's choosing to build bridges over the rubble, to make room for new joy amid the old scars. Family isn't just what you're born into or marry into. It's the circle you create with patience, presence, and the stubborn refusal to let pain have the final word. Cherish the ones who stay, forgive the ones who hurt you when you can, and keep your heart open, because in the end love, messy and redeemed, is the only thing that truly mends a broken life. As I stand here on this quiet morning after Christmas, December 28th, 2025, with the coffee brewing in the old Mr. Coffee machine that gurgles like it always has, I watch the kids, Ellie and Tyler, bundled up in coats and scarves, building a lopsided snowman in the front yard. It's barely sticking, this Georgia snow, melting already in patches on the grass, but they're laughing like it's a blizzard up north. Sam's out there with them, showing Tyler how to pack the snowball tighter, his breath puffing white in the chilly air. Bobby's truck is parked at the curb. He stayed late last night helping clean up the wrapping paper explosion. And Jenny's car is next door, her porch light still on from when she walked Tyler home around midnight. The neighborhood's waking up slow. Mr. Harlan across the street shuffling out for his newspaper, the Johnsons' dog barking at squirrels in their pecan tree. It's ordinary, this scene, but to me it's extraordinary, a snapshot of peace I never thought I'd see again after that devastating summer 8 years ago. Ellie graduated high school this past spring, walking across the stage at Milford High in her cap and gown, the gym packed with folding chairs and proud parents waving phones. Bobby and I sat side by side in the bleachers, Jenny a row behind with Tyler on her lap, all of us clapping until our hands hurt when they called her name. She got a scholarship to the nursing program at the community college in Macon, following in Jenny's footsteps without even realizing it at first. "I want to help people, Mom," she told me one night over supper. "Spaghetti with meat sauce from a jar, garlic bread toasted in the oven. Like how y'all helped each other through the hard stuff." Her words hit me then, a lump in my throat, because kids see more than we think. Sam's been her rock too, driving her to orientation, helping with FAFSA forms that made my head spin. Tyler started second grade this fall, riding the bus with the big kids now, his backpack almost as tall as he is. He spends half his time at Jenny's, half with Bobby on weekends, and drops by here whenever he wants, barging in after school for snacks, usually goldfish crackers and apple juice from the fridge. "Aunt Lynn, can I have a popsicle?" he'll ask, even in winter, and I'll cave because those blue eyes are hard to say no to. Bobby's good with him, teaching him to throw a baseball in the park or fix a flat bike tire with the kid in his truck. Regret still lingers in Bobby's voice sometimes when he talks about missing Tyler's early years, but he's making up for it now, one little league game at a time. Jenny's engaged these days, to that feed store owner, Mark, a quiet man with a beard and a gentle way about him who treats Tyler like his own. They had a small cookout last summer to announce it, right in her backyard with string lights and potato salad, the whole neighborhood invited. I went, of course, bringing my deviled eggs that everyone raves about. We hugged when she showed me the ring, a simple diamond from the jeweler in town, and whispered, "I'm happy for you," meaning it with my whole heart. Her wedding's set for next spring, cherry blossoms hopefully blooming along the church path. Sam and I tied the knot quietly last year, just a ceremony at the courthouse with Ellie as witness and a dinner afterward at the steakhouse on the highway. He's moved in here, his tools filling the garage where Bobby's used to be, and it feels right, like the house finally has the steady presence it needed. We took a honeymoon to the beach in Florida, driving down in his truck with the windows open, stopping at roadside stands for boiled peanuts and fresh oranges. Simple joys that heal the soul. Life's thrown a few more curves since that first reconciliation Christmas. Ellie's first heartbreak with a boy from college who turned out to be no good. Tyler breaking his arm falling off the monkey bars at recess. Bobby getting laid off when the mill downsized and him starting his own small repair business out of his garage. But we've weathered them together, this patchwork family of ours. Texts fly in a group chat now, pictures of school projects, quick check-ins after doctor visits, memes that make us laugh on tough days. This morning, as the snowman starts to lean dangerously to one side, and the kids come stomping in for hot chocolate, I feel a profound gratitude washing over me. Sam wraps an arm around my waist in the kitchen, kissing my temple as we watch them shake off snow by the door. Bobby texts from next door where he's crashing on Jenny's couch after too much eggnog last night. "Tell the kids their snowman's a champ." Jenny replies with a thumbs up emoji. We've come so far from secrets and shattered trust to this, loud, imperfect, enduring love. And if there's one truth I've clung to through every tear and triumph, it's this. Pain from betrayal doesn't define you unless you let it. It can carve you hollow, or it can make space for deeper compassion, stronger bonds, and unexpected grace. Forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Choose to rebuild, day by day, with the people who show up, even if they're the same ones who once let you down. Love isn't the fairy tale we dream of as kids. It's the hard-won choice to stay connected through the mess. Hold your family close, blood or chosen, flaws and all, because in the quiet mornings after the storms, that's where true healing lives. That's the legacy I'm passing to Ellie and Tyler. Resilience wrapped in love, the kind that turns broken into beautiful. As I stand here on this quiet morning after Christmas, December 28th, 2025, with the coffee brewing in the old Mr. Coffee machine that gurgles like it always has, I watch the kids, Ellie and Tyler, bundled up in coats and scarves, building a lopsided snowman in the front yard. It's barely sticking, this Georgia snow, melting already in patches on the grass, but they're laughing like it's the biggest adventure in the world. Their voices carrying through the crisp air like music. Sam's out there with them, showing Tyler how to roll the perfect snowball, while Ellie snaps pictures on her phone, already planning to make a TikTok out of it. Bobby's truck is parked at the curb. He stayed late last night helping clean up the wrapping paper explosion, and telling old stories that had us all in stitches. And Jenny's car is next door, her porch light still glowing warmly from when she walked Tyler home, promising pancakes at her place later. The neighborhood's coming alive. Mr. Harlan waving from his porch with a big grin, the Johnson's dog bounding through the snow like a puppy again. It's simple, everyday magic, but to me, it's nothing short of a miracle, a living, breathing testament to how love can rise brighter than any storm. Ellie graduated high school this past spring, strutting across that stage at Milford High like she owned the world, her cap tassel swinging as she flashed that radiant smile. Bobby and I sat shoulder to shoulder in the bleachers, Jenny right behind us with Tyler bouncing excitedly on her lap, all of us cheering louder than anyone when they called her name. She's thriving at community college now, acing her nursing classes, already volunteering at the clinic with Jenny and talking about how she wants to specialize in pediatrics. Help the little ones feel safe, she says, her eyes shining with purpose. Sam's been her biggest cheerleader, driving her to campus on busy mornings, packing her favorite snacks for long study days. Watching her bloom into this confident, compassionate young woman fills me with a pride that chases away every shadow of the past. Tyler, our little surprise gift, is 7 going on 17, full of energy and questions, building Lego sets that cover the living room floor, and scoring goals in his soccer league like a pro. He bounces between houses without missing a beat, calling me Nana Lynn, now with that gap-toothed grin that melts me every time, spending weekends with Bobby learning to fish or fix engines, and curling up with Jenny for bedtime stories. Bobby's turned his life around too. His small repair shop is booming, folks from 3 counties bringing their trucks because Bobby does it right. He's the dad he always wanted to be, showing up for every game, every school play, making memories that overwrite the ones he missed. Jenny's glowing these days, engaged to Mark, planning a beautiful spring wedding under the cherry blossoms at the church where Bobby and I once said our vows. She's found her happy, and seeing her laugh with Mark, watching him lift Tyler onto his shoulders, warms my heart in ways I never expected. Sam and I renewed our vows quietly last summer, just us and the kids on the beach at sunset, promising forever with sand between our toes and waves crashing applause. He's my steady anchor, the man who showed me love could feel safe and exciting all at once. This Christmas was pure joy, laughter echoing off the walls as we opened gifts, sang off-key carols around the tree, and ate until we couldn't move. Ellie surprised us with a scrapbook she'd made. Pages full of photos from the hard years to now, tears and triumph side by side, ending with a new family portrait we took last month, all of us smiling wide under the fall leaves. "Look how far we've come," she wrote on the last page. And she's right. We've turned pain into purpose, secrets into strength, betrayal into the deepest kind of bond. Life isn't perfect. No family is. But ours is beautiful in its redemption. We've chosen love every single day, and it's paid back 1,000-fold in these moments. Kids' laughter in the snow, shared meals around a crowded table, hugs that linger because we know how precious they are. And the greatest truth I've discovered through every tear turned to triumph is this. Betrayal and heartbreak don't have the final say. Love does when you let it. When you choose forgiveness, not as weakness but as the bravest act of all. When you open your heart again, wider than before, to let in the messy, magnificent people who show up and stay. Family isn't just what happens to you. It's what you build, day by joyful day, from the ashes of yesterday. It's the laughter rising above old hurts. The hands held across divides once thought impossible to cross. Hold your loved ones close, forgive boldly, love fiercely, because in doing so, you don't just heal. You create something radiant, unbreakable, and infinitely worth every step of the journey. That's the legacy we're living now, and it's the most uplifting gift I could ever imagine. A life overflowing with grace, second chances, and the purest kind of happiness.